Ladies and gentlemen and others, welcome back to the Ace Racing League. My name is Ross McIntyre, and today we are here for the third round of the ARL F3 Summer League in rFactor 2. Today's track, where else? It's the Cathedral of Speed, Monza, just outside Milan in Italy, built all the way back in 1922. This high-speed track has a total length of 5.8 kilometers or 3.6 miles and 11 turns. We will first have a 15-minute qualifying session, and after qualifying is done, the drivers will have 5 minutes to warm up, to relax a bit and prepare themselves for a 40-minute race in which a pit stop is mandatory. For this short summer league, we have a different point system from normal, where the race winner receives 10 points, the driver in second receives 9 points, all the way down to the competitor in 10th position, who will receive 1 point. But enough information to now, let's get over to the track because qualification has begun. So here we are at virtual Monza. Everybody knows this track. It's arguably one of the most famous in the world. The fastest track in Europe, most likely the world, as we look here upon one of the SimApex drivers trying to get the slipstream. That will be all important today in qualifying. It is all about who gets the slipstream. I'm sure all of you watching have seen the mess in Formula 1 qualifying the last few years. I predict we might have something similar today because those two long straights is where you get all that time. If you have the slipstream, you get those crucial couple of kilometers an hour, and that will really help you. We've got about 12 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. I'm assuming people are just heading out now and starting to set their own time. We've only got 9 drivers on the grid today, but hopefully it should be a close one. The competitors we have today are Savesh Shontaki, Luca Mangini, Connor Pelkmans, who leads the championship, Nick Barnsdale, Robert Pawn, Panos Vendurakis, Nick Klein-Nagelvoort, Alfie Verkamen and Wesley Stefano. Now, importantly, we have a couple of real championship contenders who are not racing today. We've got second place in the championship, Van der Hudding, who is only 5 points behind Pelkmans, and he is not racing. In fact, the top 3 drivers racing today, who are the top 3 drivers in the championship race today, are first in the championship, third in the championship, and 7th in the championship. We are missing second, fourth, third, and fourth even. Excuse me, my maths is not good. But we are missing a lot of people, and that could really, change things around today. Connor Pelkmans does have the opportunity to wrap up the championship a race early, and in a full race championship, that is simply sensational to do something like that. It's such a short season for this summer series, and the fact that he can wrap up the championship this early is simply phenomenal. Anyway, as we focus here on Nick Klein-Nagelvoort, he set 2 purple sectors, and however, over to Connor Pelkmans now. He is our championship leader. Let's try and follow him on a lap. He's just come through Curva Grande now, up to the second chicane. Good entry, try and use all the curb on the exit. He does though well, coming up to the first of the Lesmos now. Nice and tight in. You don't want to run too wide on the exit. You're trying to avoid that gravel trap. Pretty good through there. Into the second Lesmo. Very nice through there as well. Now on the run. Down here. If you had DRS in this car, this is where you'd be opening it to try and get those crucial kilometers an hour. Approaching the Ascari chicane, arguably the most famous chicane on the planet. That quick left, right, left flick. He brakes, touches the curb on the inside. Does he touch the curb here? No, he doesn't, but that enables him to get a really good run onto the back straight. Now, here he goes. He's gone faster than Nagelvoort in both Sector 1 and Sector 2. That is also important, as Nagelvoort currently sits on provisional pole. Coming to the Parabolica now, that extremely quick last corner. flicks it in on the power nice, and he actually takes a bit of curb there, which is quite surprising. Runs the car out as wide as he can. Doesn't take the curb on the exit, and he also doesn't come too far over, which is quite interesting. But he goes onto the pole by 1.3 seconds. That is a fantastic lap there. Absolutely phenomenal. And he's now going the wrong way down the pits, as you do. Onto Wayne Tammer now, who is in third position. He is, he's set of green middle sector, so that's an improvement. He's 6/10 off Nagelwort in P2. As Connor Peltmans does head back to the pits now. Let's see if he can do anything coming through Parabolica. He runs a bit wider than Peltmans through here. That enables him to probably carry a bit more speed as long as he doesn't scrub it off on the exit of the corner. Runs much tighter into the final section as well. It's a much shorter distance. And he does improve. Wow, 4/100ths of a second away from Nagelwort in P2. That's incredibly close. Looks like it's going to be a tight battle for P2. So apart from the top three, it looks like no one's really properly set a lap yet. But that's not a problem. There's still 8 minutes to go. Still to play for here at Virtual Monza. Now looking at Luca Mangini coming through Ascari. He doesn't take all the curb on the exit. You'd arguably want to try and take a bit more, but there is a gravel trap on this version of Monza here. So that can punish you. If anyone remembers the Formula 1 race at Mugello a few weeks back, which I'm sure you all do, you'll remember that the gravel traps there were extremely punishing. And that is what it is like on the exit of the Ascari chicane. Luca running quite a wide line through Ascari, even wider than Wayne Tammer. And he runs not so aggressively towards the inside, doesn't go faster in the last sector, but it's a new personal best, a 1:49.919. Only sets him 2 seconds off Wayne Tammer in P3. And you can see the cars now coming out. They're all going to be starting to try and get that slipstream. But there is also 7 minutes to go, so what we may see is a period of downtime where everyone is sitting, just waiting in the pits to see who does what and what happens, because it could be that everyone heads out at once, or we just stay like this. It could just be people lapping individually. We just don't know. And that's how it's going to be. Now, ooh, and Luca Mangini runs into the gravel, and he appears to have beached himself as well. No, he doesn't. He's managed to get himself on the way. Van der Hooding is still going. I thought he was not in this race. My information, I was lied to. Apologies there, everybody. I thought that we didn't have Van der Hooding in this race. I am clearly a bit blind. But that being said, so my previous information earlier was incorrect. We do have second place in the championship in this race, so that makes it a little bit harder for Connor Peltmans to win the championship today. As he cuts through Ascari in a very bright yellow livery. Takes more of the last curb and a little bit of the gravel actually as well on his way through than everybody else I've seen. So he's clearly trying to run an extremely aggressive line. We saw Peltmans was almost gliding through. He didn't really look as if he was trying that hard. Back end stepping out a little bit on the entry to the Parabolica. That may be a car setup, that may just be him cutting loose as he, again, no one is running extremely aggressively into, as he goes P4 into the start finish line. Often what you'll see is drivers cutting 2 wheels across the inside white line because it's all about the shortest run to the line at that point. So I'm surprised we're not seeing more people off the track there. But maybe we'll see that amp up as the session continues, as we follow Van der Hooding now on his second lap, entering the Curva Grande. Very fast, tight corner that, to be honest, in modern motorsport isn't really a corner anymore. It's more just a kink because you can hold your way flat the entire way round. As he comes up to the second chicane, doesn't take the curb on the entry, bit of a bounce, but he gets through cleanly. And he runs a bit wider through Les Mo than most drivers, and and there's a car off there. Doesn't back off for the yellow flags. That's Luca Mangini off. Obviously we don't have as much of a yellow flag back off rule in rFactor. Obviously we could try and implement it if we wanted to, but we don't really want to deal with that. That's not our we don't want to ruin people's life, especially 5 minutes into the session. And Nick Barnsdale, or Sunday Driver, seems to have entered the session as well. So that's very pleasant to see Nick come along. This is, I believe, is his first start in the series. Or no, it's not his first start, but it's his first finish, hopefully, because he did not start in the first race and DNF'd out of the second race, much like myself, except vice versa. So we watch Van der Hooding come around the last turn now. He's set 2 green sectors. Hopefully this should be a really good final sector. And hopefully the Luca Mangini being off at the Lesmos didn't affect his lap too much. It's a 147.2. Places him in second, about 8/10 off the lead car of Conor Peltmans. That was a spectacular lap by Peltmans, I must say. His Nikolai Nagelvort fails to improve that time round. So it's looking like we could have an extremely tight session on our hands for P2 and P3. And P4 as well. As Luca Mangini is still spinning. And there is Conor Peltmans, the championship leader in that Sim Apex livery, number 26, really fighting the rear end of the car through there. Coming down now towards the Ascari chicane, under the Alliance Bridge, under the old banking. As well, we get a spectacular view of the banking from this angle, just behind the sponsor logo there. Really flicks it into the first turn. And does he take the curb on the third turn? Yes, he does. Doesn't use any of the curbing on the exit of the corner, but I'm sure that won't affect him, especially seeing as how it's an outlap. Let's see what he can do. I'll be especially interested to see if he runs extremely wide coming out of the parabolic to try and gain as much speed as he can for the start of the lap, as Ruben van der Hooding has just set a purple sector 1. So keep an eye out for that, because van der Hooding could just be hitting his stride now. As Conor Peltmans starts a new flying lap with 3 minutes to go in the session. Oh, and that is cars flying off, or just the connection. It is our connection, so apologies about that. Van Hooding may have got caught up behind the second car there in the slipstream in the middle sector. So while it would be beneficial in the slipstream in the tight and twisty middle sector with the Lesmos in the second chicane, it can be not as beneficial to be behind another car. As he comes around the last corner and he decides to pit, he decides that his lap is not worth saving, and he comes in hopefully for a fresh set of rubber with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. It's about a 1 minute 46, 47 lap around here, so it's a relatively fast lap. But with a 40-minute race with mandatory pit stops, so we will have to see how the strategy comes into play. As we're following Nikolai Nagelvort around now as he goes through Curva Grande, coming into the second chicane, which names always escapes me. Apologies about that. He doesn't take the curb on the entry, but I'm not sure we'll see many people doing that, judging by the common theme so far. I thought we would, but that's not a problem. It really isn't if you take the first chicane or not, to be frank. So I don't know why I'm even bringing it up, to be honest. As we follow Nagelvort again, everyone just seems to be clipping the gravel on the exit of the second Lesmo. I don't know if there's a little bit of time to have it just pushing the limits, or if they're just edging it a bit too far. But he's also not gone any faster through the first sector. He does go faster in the second sector, though, than his previous best. So we could be seeing an improved lap here from Nikolai Nagelvort as he comes through Ascari, running all the curve and off as well, and into the barrier. That's quite a heavy impact there. Hopefully he doesn't have that much damage so he can continue onwards back to the pits, but he will not have enough time to complete another lap. Wayne Tammer is also on his final lap. He has not improved so far either. As he comes down to the timing line, we'll have to see what happens. Will he go any faster through the second sector? Yes, he will. A 35.5 in the second sector. He does improve. Now, can he keep it clean through Ascari, unlike Nikolai Nagelvort? Yes, he can. And there is Nagelvort stranded on the left-hand side. No, that's Luca Mangini even. Sorry, I couldn't see whose car that was from that angle. As he rockets down the back stretch, planting on the brakes, swings it into the Parabolica. Can he improve as he comes around the exit of the final corner with 14 seconds left on the clock? He does have the time for another lap if he wishes. and he does improve. It's not faster in the final sector, but it is a faster lap overall. Wayne Tamer goes into 3rd place, overtaking Nick Klein-Nagelwald, and he's only 2/10 off Ruben van der Hudding as well. He will have time for another lap, so we'll have to see if he goes for it. He just clips the sausage curve on the inside there. Might take away from his lap just a little bit. Hopefully doesn't. Yeah, doesn't use all the track on the way into Curva Grande. That's, as I said before, perfectly acceptable. Monza is a track where track limits, really, you do not have to abuse them to try and get all the speed you can, because it is all about that straight line. Coming into the Variante della Regia, clipping the inside curb, trying to use all the exit on the outside. He leaves some space, obviously trying to play a bit safe, but he has set a new fastest personal sector 1. Coming through Lesmo 1, a little bit wide on the entry and then a little bit shallow on the exit, but then into Lesmo 2. Can he get it bang on? Yes, he can. Oh, and he slid into the gravel. And there goes Wayne Tamer's lap. What a shame. It was looking quick until that point. But that's what happens when you push. You know, you can be subject to these mistakes, and it can just take away your lap. And yep, it's middle sector of 38.7 when he should be running 36s. I think we will see him come into the pits at the end of this lap as we go past the stranded Luca Mangini, who is looking a bit sad there, to be honest, on the halfway down the back stretch. Into Parabolica, Wayne Tamer comes. I'm sure, yeah, he's going very slowly through here. He's not really pushing. I'm sure we'll see him peel off to the inside, and yes, we do. Coming into the pits now. That will be that for qualifying. So we do have Connor Pelkmans on the pole by 0.8 of a second. Ruben van der Hudding coming in second, with Wayne Tamer only 2/10 off him in 3rd. Nick Klein-Nagelwald is in 4th with another 2/10 off Wayne Tamer. Luca Mangini in 5th, being 2.1 seconds off Nagelwald. I just don't think he managed to get a lap in, unfortunately. And I'm not sure whether we'll be seeing Sunday driver at all. I'm not sure. Nick Barnsdale, he's been popping on and off the timing screens. He may be having connection issues. So unfortunate that we don't have a lot of drivers today, because I was expecting a lot more. But it appears that we only have very few. We have had a couple of people drop out last minute, but that is a damn shame. We've also had people having connection issues as well, which is a shame. But there is our grid for round 3. Whole 5 cars. We've got Connor Pelkmans on the pole, Ruben van der Hudding coming in 2nd, Wayne Tamer 3rd, Nick Klein-Nagelwald in 4th, and Luca Mangini rounding out the 5. Now this could be interesting as they head into the warm-up, because although there's only 5 cars, that does enable for some very tight pack racing if they're all on similar levels of pace. So we could be seeing these 5 cars battling all the way to the end. We could be seeing Pelkmans shoot off into the lead. We just simply don't know. As we head out for the warm-up now, it's just a 5-minute warm-up to allow the drivers to get themselves sorted, get themselves settled into the car. Just as you can see here, they won't really be pushing. They'll just be trying to find the race pace, how the car behaves on the high fuel with the current track temperature, which I do not have view. Oh, and we do have someone just joining in now. They are in time for the race. It's Imran Sheikh, I believe, has just managed to join in. It's good to see him back involved. It's good to see him back on track, and another person on the on the server as well. 6 cars now we have. Hopefully we might see Nick Barnsdale show up as one of the Sim Apex cars. I believe that was Nagelwald running wide out the 2nd Lesmo there. Now this could be a fairly interesting race, because while judging from the qualifying, Connor Pelkmans is like, oh, and bit of an incident there. Both drivers seem to get away with that, but that was very interesting. It is only 50% damage on these cars, so you can, give someone a bit of a cut across. The Sim Apex driver was not happy there. So you can give someone a little bit of a wallop and get away with it a bit. It's not as brutal as it usually is on rFactor, as in one touch and you could end up with a broken suspension. As the other driver that comes into the pits, I believe that is Wayne Tamer, Please excuse me if my driver calls are incorrect. This is my first time commentating on the summer series, so I'm not entirely sure of all the liveries. But as we come up to halfway through the warm-up, it's time for a commercial break, and we will be back with you after a short message from our sponsors. Welcome back to virtual Monza. Not much has changed since you've been gone for the commercial break. My PC's having a moment and won't let me view the stream, which is rather irritating. I can just pop off there and then just pop back onto it, and it should all be fine. Yes, there we are. I can now see it again. But yes, welcome back to Monza. Again, just as we come in to round up the warm-up, it's the third round of the championship here, 40-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. So we could see a little bit of strategy come into play. The tyre wear should not be as much of an issue around here because it's Monza. It's a track about how fast you can get your car to propel itself in a straight line. But we could see fuel. No, we won't see fuel come into play even because fueling is not allowed. My apologies. But we could see drivers trying to see how long they could get the tyres to last in both directions. We could see drivers trying to maybe run 30-minute first stints to really allow them to push the second stint, or vice versa, really push in the first stint and then a slower second stint to try and get that undercut in almost, or to cement their position on the track. As we see one of the Sim Apex cars getting a bit wobbly out of the Ascari chicane as they come into the final corner. I believe that's Klein Nagelwort as he comes through. So there's a lot of Sim Apex cars on this field. Obviously, there's only six cars today. Yeah, it is Nick Klein Nagelwort, but there is a lot of people racing under the Sim Apex banner this series. The team were feeling pretty generous and just allowed people to use their livery, which is very nice of them. So a lot of people do have Sim Apex liveries in this series, and hopefully we see everyone return for the final round of this series, which I believe is at Suzuka, if I'm not mistaken. I will need to double check my facts there. Apologies about that. Yeah, so it is at Suzuka on the 10th of October, so make sure you're tuning on the 10th of October for the final round of the ARL F3 Summer Series. And then it should hopefully be back to normal. I don't know what the next plan is for the next F3 Series, if there even will be an F3 Series. It could be a car change. We'll just have to see what the organisers of the league decide to do. As we now finish the warm-up, heading back to the pits. And here we are, 13 seconds to the start of the race. So just to remind you of the grid, we've got Connor Pelkmans on the pole, Ruben van der Hudding lining up alongside him into turn one. We've got Wayne Tammett in third, and yet Klein Nagelwort in fourth. Luca Mangini is fifth, and Imran Sheikh lines up in sixth, not being able to qualify due to technical issues, but he is here and he is looking to make an impact. The track temperature is 19 degrees, so fairly cool. And it's sunny the entire race, which should be interesting. If anyone has anything they'd like to tell anyone outside of the F3 League, let me know. I can also help people with what's going on the other sports. If you have any inquiries about the Nürburgring 24 hours, about any football that's going on, for example, just let me know. I am always more than happy to help. As we watch the cars now on the formation lap. As they come through Curva Grande now, just trying to warm the tyres up. That's the most important thing of the formation lap. It's also, in real life, it'd be to cool the engine down as well, but in rFactor, cooling the engine is not so much as an issue as it would be in real life. Well, brakes are an issue. Oh, and there's a spin in the background. Wayne Tanner getting a bit out of shape on the formation lap. There you are. You see something new every day. As they come through the second Lesmo, Connor Peltman seems to have got a bit of a pace on the formation lap. It's either that or everyone else has been held up by Wayne Tanner's incident. But it's as they come down now, Peltman does seem to be slowing the pack right down. Just letting everyone regroup, take back their positions. I can only see 5 cars. I don't know where the 6th is. Imran Sheikh seems to be 11 seconds behind everyone else, so I'm not sure if that's a problem for him or if he's gone off. But hopefully he can get back before the red lights go out and we start the race. They begin to file into double file, and there is Imran just coming around the a Scottish cane in the back of the shot. Now the real question is, can Connor Peltman's drive away at the start? Because if Ruben van der Hooding is smart, he will duck straight into that slipstream. Monza is a track where you can be ridiculously quick in qualifying, but come the race, you simply do not have the pace to pull away because someone else has your slipstream. So we will have to see what happens. Peltman's just getting some last little weaves in here. He slides a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, just trying to get into his grid slot now. And there is Imran in the background, so we will have all 6 cars ready for the start of this race. And Connor pulls in to his grid slot. Wayne Tanner appears to be extremely yet, and Wayne Tanner has just overshot his box a little bit, so he just backs up a little bit. There is Imran Sheikh getting a little bit sideways again in the background. But here we are then. It's the start of round 3. The ARL Summer Series. And we are away. Connor Peltman gets a great start. Van der Hooding, though, is not too bad. And so does Niet Klein-Nagel. They already are ducking into the slipstreams. The question is, can we keep a clean turn 1? I hope so, because I do not want to see a crash already. And that is Connor Peltman's ducked to the inside. We've got Wayne Tanner trying to have a go on the outside. And Connor Peltman's does get done by Ruben van der Hooding, sorry. And that is, so Niet Klein-Nagel couldn't capitalise on the slipstream, but Van der Hooding could, and he now leads from the first corner. Wayne Tanner trying to get a move done now on Imran Sheikh as Luca Mangini backs up the field. We've got Ruben van der Hooding just defending the inside line here. He doesn't want to, no, it's a 40-minute race, there's still plenty of time, but he just doesn't want to let Connor Peltman sneak past already, as Connor does have a look into Lesmo number 1. Niek just behind them, hoping that they could maybe both make a mistake and go off. And there is a car off in the background. It's Imran Sheikh off into the gravel at the first Lesmo. Can he get it moving again? I hope he can. As Connor Peltman's now gets the slipstream down into Ascari. Ruben van der Hooding is right in on the inside. He goes back out to the outside. Does Connor Peltman? No, he does not commit. I think he's hoping that he can get the run down into the Parabolica. No, unfortunately, Romano 6 drivers is not normal. You have a lot more than this, but we appear to have just had some technical issues and some late dropouts from multiple competitors. As we watch Connor Peltman's try and sweep around the outside into the Parabolica now. He can't quite do it. Could he get the switch back? No, I don't think he can, but he does now have the slipstream into turn 1, and Ruben van der Hooding has run wide on the exit of the Parabolica. That is going to kill his momentum, and should see Connor Peltman's just fly past him into turn 1, and Connor also has the inside line. But Ruben does actually seem to be faster in a straight line, so I presume that he is running less downforce than Peltman's. Who's going to get the corner? Ruben van der Hooding does. He's managed to keep his line round the outside. That's some very impressive driving there. And Connor seems to have been a bit compromised on the exit of the corner as he come around the curve grinder now. And yet Klein-Nagel seems to just be dropping a little bit further back, trying to stay in this battle, but I'm not quite sure that he has the pace to do so. But as I said earlier, we are only a couple minutes into this race. We're on lap 2. Anything can happen. As we watch now into and Imran Sheikh does have a penalty. I do not know what that's for. I presume it's for track limits violations or something along the like. He's also 30 seconds off everybody else in P6, so I'm sure that's not really the end of the world for him, unfortunately. Van der Hooding does have the fastest lap of the race by 0.03 of a second. So it's incredibly tight between Van der Hooding and Pelkmans. Pelkman's kicking up the gravel dust as they come down the backstretch now. Klein Nagel, you know, he's dropping back further and further every lap. He's now 9/10 away from the lead pair. I think my live timing's lying to me. It does not look. It looks a lot more than 9/10. And Van der Hooding now looking to see if he can get the slipstream down. He has a much cleaner exit, and he does have the slipstream now. And a new fastest lap for Ruben van der Hooding. So 1:47.1. So we seem to be running in the 47s as Pelkmans looks to the inside, gets the momentum, and just swings on through. I love him, and there is a little bit of contact there. Just a little bump from Pelkmans, but he goes through. And he will now be wanting to shoot off into the distance. Ruben van der Hooding will not want to lose the slipstream here. He will want to fight back where he can. He wants to delay Pelkmans as much as he can, as he looks left and right coming into the second chicane, because Van der Hooding knows that Pelkman is slower, is faster even, excuse me, just on qualifying pace alone. And Van der Hooding also knows that he is faster in a straight line as Imran Sheikh gets another penalty. Well, it's very sad for him. That's the second penalty. There's also a yellow flag in Sector 1 as Ruben van der Hooding runs a little bit wide. But as I said earlier, he is faster on the straights from what we can tell. So he will be looking to get that slipstream down into the Parabolica or down into turn 1 and just try and swing past Pelkmans just as Pelkmans swung past him a lap earlier. And he runs quite wide coming up the Ascara chicane. Might lose a little bit of momentum. Doesn't seem too bad, but Pelkmans has pulled a 6/10 gap already. But we can see that gap is dropping in the slipstream. Who gets the better exit of Parabolica now? That's the real question. And it appears that Van der Hooding might have got a better exit, and he is gaining now. Down the main straight he comes. That distance is dropping, and it is dropping quicker and quicker, and he swings to the outside. He has a look. He does. Oh, and do they touch? I don't think they do. Van der Hooding sticks to his second place. Conor Pelkmans holds the lead as they come through the Curva Grande on their way up to the Variante della Regia. Van der Hooding looking to the outside, hoping maybe he can get the inside line into the della Regia chicane. Pelkmans racing quite hard there, you know, edging him right out to the edge. Van der Hooding he's driving extremely hard, aggressively at the moment. He is really on it, though, really pestering Conor Pelkmans where he can to just try and get through. Now, as it would stand, Conor Pelkmans would pull away by another point in the championship. He would have a 6-point lead, or a 7-point lead. As Nikolai Nagelvoort gets really out of shape on the exit there. He would have a 7-point lead according to my maths, which it wouldn't seal him the championship there, but it would very much put one hand on the title. It would be his to lose. You know, in this race, if he goes off, Van der Hooding could, you know, take that 5-point lead for himself. But if Conor Pelkmans, if they finish as they are now, Pelkmans is well on his way to taking home the Summer Series title. As he darts the inside, trying to break the toe. We saw actually in actual F3, someone got a penalty for that at Silverstone. I believe it was. I can't remember who it was, unfortunately, but they were very aggressively toe breaking. It might have been Theo Pourchaire, I believe. My memory is not doing me a very good service tonight. As Van der Hooding really aggressively all over the back of Pelkmans, he tries to swing around the outside. Can he get it under braking? No, he can't, unfortunately. Pelkmans is still holding firm. These two are all over each other in the first 8 minutes of this race. Pelkmans seems to have just dropped back a little bit. His exit of the first chicane was compromised a little bit, which is A shame, but I'm sure he can get right back on it, going through the De La Rocha chicane and into the Lesmos. Now, yeah, Klein Nagelvoort, he's in a bit of a no man's land here. He's dropping back from Peltwoods and Van der Hudding. Wayne Tanner, I'm not sure if Wayne Tanner's gaining on him or not. I don't believe he is. So Nagelvoort is just sort of in this no man's land of P3. If he keeps going, he's on his way to a podium, on his way to some good points. Everyone in this race is going to get. Oh, and who is that going straight on in the background? I believe that's Wayne Tanner. Yes, it is. Just going straight on in the background. And no, he can't keep the car moving. Wayne Tanner has retired from this race. What was all that about? That is bizarre. I'm not very sure what happened there, to be honest, but what I do know is that Wayne Tanner has just retired. What we know is that he went straight on coming into the first Lesmo corner, and seemed to just not be able to get the car moving again. Maybe if it was beached or he had a failure of some sort, I'm not sure. Maybe a internet failure or a hardware failure. But he is out of this race. It's a massive shame for Wayne Tanner, but it's great news for Nick Klein Nagelvoort because he is now just basically secured himself third place, as his next competitor is 40 seconds back. As the lead two still scrapping. The problem Ruben van der Hudding is currently facing is that although he's very close coming out the exit of the first chicane here and into the Curva Grande, is that he is catching Conor Peltmans in all the places where Conor Peltmans knows how to defend. And that is a massive problem because he's just getting, he's getting outshone on the defending by Peltmans, as Peltmans, big lock up into the De La Rocha chicane there. And, then his corners are getting compromised, he's getting, pushed back, and then he's just gaining back up to those places on the track again. As Van der Hudding sets a fastest first sector of all. And we see Nick Klein Nagelvoort doing a bit of rallycross in the background there, as we have to. Oh, and he's gone off as well. Can he keep it moving? I'm not sure he can. Yes, he can. No. Can he keep it going? He's got it floored. He's desperate to get out of that gravel trap. It's touch and go with the keeping mill. I think he's going to get away with it here. He's also going to maintain third position. He just taking the rallycross line out of the first Lesmo, and just couldn't get it slowed down, I guess. Oh, and there is Peltmans locking up as Van der Hudding runs right alongside him, and he is right on the gearbox of Peltmans now coming down the main straight. He is going to have all the slipstream in the world now, and he pulls out already as Mangini takes third place from Klein Nagelvoort. So I assume, nearly touching the lead is there, coming down the main straight. Hudding is really pushing Peltmans onto the inside, but Peltmans still has the corner, but he runs really deep, Peltmans, and Van der Hudding's going to have the exit speed coming into the Curva Grande now. There is a tenth between the two. You could not separate them at all as they swing around the Curva Grande. Ruben van der Hudding is trying to get that momentum by running slightly wider. Peltmans darts to the inside to defend the corner. Is he going to run deep? We'll have to see. Van der Hudding taking a very conservative line. Peltmans running a bit deeper, but managing to hold that position while we are seeing a fantastic battle for the lead today. So they swing into the first Lesmo, and Conor Peltmans running a little bit wide through there. And Van der Hudding also just on the exit a bit, kicking up a bit of dust. And as they come now down the little kink and under the old banking, that magical bridge where, if we see from the next angle, we can see that historic banking where they used to race many years ago. Oh, and there goes Van der Hudding looking to the outside of the second section of the Scottish Cane. Doesn't quite make it stick, and he's losing a bit of momentum down the straight, but he should gain that back in the slipstream, and if all goes well, he'll know to back off into the Parabolica and ease it through and hopefully take the lead on the main straight. And Nick Klein Nagelvoort is out of this race as well. That is 2 retirements out of 6 even, excuse me. We have 4 runners remaining in this race. So Luca Mangini is looking on track for a podium at the moment. That is phenomenal stuff for the driver who has not been that quick this weekend. He's particularly struggled. And Van der Hooding, again, poking his nose in front, but just not having the inside line. But Peltmans runs really wide into the first corner. He goes way too deep, and he might get a penalty for that. And Van der Hooding is going to be able to just sweep past and take the lead, because Peltmans can do nothing, because he just does not have the momentum. And it seems like Van der Hooding's relentless pressure has finally caused Conor Peltmans to crack. As he pokes his nose down to the inside, he's got the slipstream back, and he's going to lock up, and he's going to run wide again. And there is, oh, and they touch, oh, and there goes Peltmans into the barrier. Oh dear, oh dear. Is he damaged? We don't know. We'll have to see. Van der Hooding, I think he might get a post-race penalty for that unless Peltmans wins, because that may have cost Peltmans the lead of this race. I mean, it did cost Peltmans it, but it may have cost him the victory. Van der Hooding just didn't have anywhere to go and just didn't ease off. You know, Peltmans desperately trying to gain back that lead, which he lost. Poke just running slightly too wide into the Variante della Regia and just running too wide, backing off. Van der Hooding with nowhere to go, can't, and he doesn't ease off, just touching the back of Peltmans, and round Peltmans goes. And it is as easy as that, as we've got another yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not sure who that's for. Oh, and that's Imran Sheikh, and that's a big accident. That is a big accident. He's gone off in the Parabolica. There goes Peltmans to lap him now. He's got no front wing. I hope he realises that. I'm not sure what's happened there. It seems he's just ploughed straight on at the Parabolica. Is he going to pit? Yes, he is. So this is the first of the pit stops today. Imran Sheikh coming in for 4 tyres and presumably a new front wing. And as it stands, Luca Mangini has basically confirmed himself for that 3rd place podium, because Imran Sheikh is a long way behind. And there is Ruben van der Hooding leading this race after that incident with Conor Peltmans. He's hoping he should be able to pull a gap, but as we saw from qualifying, Peltmans over a single lap is absolutely rapid. But qualifying set is nothing compared to the race. You know, it all depends on, qualifying is great. You know, you always want to be on the pole position. You want to prove you're the fastest over a single lap, but you don't get prizes for being the fastest over a single lap. You get prizes for being the fastest over a course of a race, and being fast over a single lap versus being fast over 40 minutes. You can't compare the two. So we'll have to see if Van der Hooding has a quicker setup in the race, or if he's just simply been racing really well with Peltmans and has just managed to keep him distracted. As we're just watching Peltmans, he's 6.5 seconds back, coming through the last chicane. He doesn't appear to have damage because he hasn't pitted yet. We could see him attempt the undercut here, or even the overcut against Van der Hooding. Excuse me a second. Sorry, I've just got a bit of a cold. Just need to mute myself there while I had a cough. It's not COVID, I promise. Coming through the last corner now, Conor Peltmans. Parabolica, that big sweeping right-hander. Initially very tight before widening out. And the important thing is that Peltmans can see Van der Hooding, and Van der Hooding has just set a purple final sector. And he's dropped back by over a second as well in the last sector. So that would tell me that Peltmans does have damage, which is it's clearly enough for him to continue, but it's costing him time, which is not great for his championship lead and for the sake of this race. So if I was Conor Peltmans, I would be wanting to come into this pit this time with 23 minutes left on the clock. It's entering the pit window now. Van der Hooding, that was a fantastic line through. They're really using all of the track. That was brilliant, I must say. Entering the first Lesmo now. He's running pretty wide through there. You know, he's really running very aggressively, Van der Hooding. You know, as we see there, he runs a little bit off the track, but he can afford to do that. He's got a good gap to kind of Peltmans behind. My radiator's gone off, which is quite annoying because it's gone from very hot in my room to very cold. But as we watch him now coming to Ascari, will he use the curb on the entry? No, he won't, but he will use the inside curb there of the first turning point. He's driving on a very aggressive line, is Van der Hooding. Peltmans, he's driving a bit more, a bit more lenient. He's a bit more conservative, giving himself the space where he can, just in case he makes a mistake. He's very much, he's driving a very conservative, calm, collected race. Van der Hooding is the complete opposite. He is absolutely flat out. He is driving qualifying lap after qualifying lap where he can. So he crossed the line. It's a 147.3 there. Tyre wear is coming to start to play just a little bit. Let's see what Connor Peltmans does. Peltmans does a 1 minute 48, and he has come into the pits. Excuse me there. Peltmans is in. So this is it. Second place and lead of the championship. He's in. I don't know if he's going to make repairs. We'll just have to see from the length of the pit stop. Car goes up on the jacks. How long is he going to be in the box for? And he's away, so he's not repaired anything. He's just changed the tyres and he's away. He's now going to try and push and try and get back on Van der Hooding on the undercut. I don't think an 8-second-ish undercut is really going to benefit Pelk, that much unless Van der Hooding makes a massive mistake or misses his pit box or something. But we'll have to see as he comes out, enters the first chicane, and he's away. And there is Luca Mengini, our third place driver. He's had a fairly quiet race today. He's just he's not been anywhere near the pace of the lead two. And Imran Sheikh in the pits now as well. He's a lap down. He's been reasonably quick, Imran Sheikh, but he has also had that accident early on, which not early on, sorry, about 10 minutes in, which unfortunately left him without a front wing. It just seems to be a drive-through penalty there. As Van der Hooding sets a purple middle sector. But now, coming up to halfway through this race, I think it's time to take a quick commercial break. I'll be back after a quick message from our sponsors. Welcome back to the ARL rFactor 2 Formula 3 Summer League. You've not missed much, I must say. Not to sound pedantic or anything, as we watch Ruben van der Hooding lapping in the lead. He's the only driver yet to pit out of the current bunch. Actually, sorry, I'm mistaken there. I believe Luca Mengini is also yet to pit. But he's driving a very commanding lead here after that earlier controversial contact with Connor Peltmans, which I would not be surprised if there was a bit of a post-race debate over the cause of that and whether we may see that taken to the stewards, because that could be a very deciding moment in this race, and also the championship, because if, as it stands, this enables Van der Hooding to creep closer to Peltmans in the championship. I believe it would get him a point closer, bring the gap down to 4 points, if I'm not mistaken. So it would all be to play for in Suzuka. And if it isn't 4 points, that really could cost Connor Peltmans their championship, because Peltmans was hoping, he really was hoping to come in here and wrap up the championship, a race early, maybe hope Van der Hooding makes a mistake, drives himself off early on, and he could wrap up the championship right here and right now. But now, Van der Hooding is the one in control. He is just driving a very clean race. His race pace has been very phenomenal. I also believe that Van der Hooding has actually had a pit stop, so if you ignore my earlier information, because he's, according to the Delta, he is 12 seconds up on Connor Peltmans instead of 30. As yes, he is. Connor Peltmans, however, does set a new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 46.7. That is 5.4 tenths faster than Van der Hooding's quickest lap. So we'll have to see what Peltmans can do. But yes, Van der Hooding has pit on this last lap, so you did miss Van der Hooding pitting during the sponsor break. So we'll have to see what Peltmans can do. Van der Hooding may have to warm his tyres up. That could allow Peltmans to close in over the closing stages of the race. 17 minutes to go. We'll just have to see how it all unfolds. We've got 4 cars remaining of the 6 we had running. A rather small grid, unfortunately, today. Hopefully it is back up to its full glory at Suzuka for the final round. We can have an action-packed race as Peltmans runs wide there. I suspect he may be pushing just a little bit hard, maybe a bit too hard. He's desperate to try and get that win. You know, he knows he will still lead the championship in second place, but he's not satisfied with second place. He wants to take home that trophy here at Virtual Monza. Van der Hooding winning, you know, it may be a bit of a dent in his confidence as well heading into the final round. You know, Ruben will go in, being the most previous race winner, he'll go in with the momentum behind him, the advantage behind him as the gap flickers between 10 to 11 seconds. And here comes Peltmans flying into the final corner. He's also set a fastest middle sector here as well. Peltman sets a personal fastest lap, 1 minute 46.8. But Peltmans looks to be on track for another fastest overall lap, and he does a 1 minute 46.5. So he is lapping faster than Van der Hooding. He can see Van der Hooding in the distance. It's 15 minutes to go. You know, by the end of this race, he could be all over the gearbox of the Dutchman's car. And here we are, Luca Mangini, our third place driver, 52 seconds back on Connor Peltmans. You know, as I was saying before the commercial break, he's driving a very quiet race here, but he's managed to keep himself out of trouble. You know, we've seen Wayne Tammer go off and retire. We've seen Nick Klein-Algebort do the same at the same corner, just running off and getting stuck on the gravel. Imran Sheikh's he's had incidents. He's had a couple of penalties. He ran off at the final corner as well and had a pretty heavy accident and managed to get away with it. Luca Mancini, he's not been off. He's been quietly reserved. He's been driving a good race. You know, he's been on his own pace, while he has been down off the pace of the 2 leaders. As Ruben van der Hooding sets a fast first sector, he's been quietly confident. He's as he locks up there coming into the Variante della Regia. I've been quite impressed with Mangini. He's the only driver who hasn't been caught in an incident today. So I say that he runs wide. Commentator's curse. I'm so sorry, Luca. Can he keep it moving? I hope he can. Oh dear. Luca Mangini stuck in the gravel. I may have absolutely screwed this for him. I'm so sorry, Luca. I'm sure we can get it moving. There goes Imran Sheikh. He's a lap behind, so he needs not worry. And there goes Mangini. He managed to get it going again. Go on, Luca. You can do it. And there he goes, back on track. I'm very sorry, Luca. I will apologise to you for that afterwards on the Discord. I didn't just commentate to curse you there. But we move on regardless. So, as we follow him down into the Sky chicane, and there is Imran Sheikh. He's had a bit of an incident-filled race, unfortunately for him. But he's still 4th place, albeit the last runner on the track. He had a couple of penalties early on. I'm not sure what they were for. We couldn't quite see. I presume they were just for track limits violations or cutting corners. He came into the race late due to technical issues, couldn't log into the server, and then about 10-15 minutes into the race had a really heavy incident. The Parabolica just went straight on face first into the barrier. You know, it's a really heavy impact. You know, if we were running 100% damage in this series, not 50, you know, that really would have been the end of his race. So he's a bit lucky there to be able to continue as he heads down now through the Curva Grande. Through Curva Grande, he's still a lap down on the leaders. He's on the same lap as Luca Mangini now, I believe. So at least he's got that going for him. And there is Connor Peltmans, the man chasing down Ruben van der Hooding. The gap's been weaving around the same distance now. He does have the fastest lap still, 1 minute 46.5, but he doesn't really seem to be pulling in Van der Hooding any much. You know, Van der Hooding is running still a very consistent, you know, mid to high 1 minute 46, and at the moment, I must say, Peltmans is not doing enough to catch Van der Hooding in the final stages of this race, as Van der Hooding sets a purple first sector. Is this his response? Is he now going to absolutely floor it? He wants that fastest lap as well, I think. He would love the well, he isn't able to get the trifecta as Peltmans was on pole, but I think he'd love to you know, have the momentum to go into the final race with a race win and a fastest lap under his belt, really get that momentum behind him. He hasn't run a race yet in this series. He's finished fifth, I believe, fourth, I believe, sorry, in the first race, second in the last race, where Connor Peltmans has finished second and first in both the races. So Connor Peltmans is well on track to have 3 podiums, which is simply phenomenal. He's really been very dominant in this series. He's had a really good wagon under him. That Sim Apex, you know, they've got a really good setup on that car. I believe Robert Paulin has provided a setup that is really universal for all the tracks. He wouldn't give it to me either, which was very frustrating. Wouldn't give it to me for Silverstone, but it didn't really matter, as I crashed out on the second lap. We won't talk about that. We're here to talk about this. We're here to talk about Monza, as Connor Peltmans now crosses the line. Unfortunately, Van der Hooding did not actually set a fastest lap of the race last night. He set a personal best lap, but not a fast lap in the last sector. He was quite significantly down, actually. But he was well up in the first and second sectors on Connor Peltmans, which is why that gap has increased. Peltmans is starting to drop off a bit. I'm not sure if his tyres are gone or if he's just trying to drive to the end of the race, but as it stands, Van der Hooding he's well within the reach of that first place trophy. Now coming into the Variante della Regia, 10 minutes left on the clock. I'm going to clip that inside the inside curbs, run as wide as you can on the exit, just avoiding the gravel. You really want to use as much curb as you can there. Running into the first lesmo, it's a surprisingly early turn in there. You've got to hook the car in, let the camber use you, and the same with the second lesmo. Let the camber steer the car for you now as it comes down onto the semi back straight. I'd say it's not quite a back straight. The Curva del Siriglio there under the old banking, that fantastic piece of track, which unfortunately laid to waste now, but there for the memory of all to see. Running as wide as he can into the entry, of the Ascari chicane, clipping the inside curve there on the exit, not using all the runoff on the outside, just wanting to avoid that gravel onto the back straight on the run down to the Parabolica. It's not been a particularly good lap for Peltmans, but we're still following around anyway. It's one more corner to go. We may as well. Into the barrel follow wide as you can, bring it in, clip the inside curb, and now just as wide as you can onto the exit. He absolutely keeps it fairly neat and tidy, actually, which is not the line I'd expect someone to be taking if they were trying to hunt down the lead. So that does tell me that Peltmans is now taking it easy. He knows that second place is the realistic goal here. He doesn't want to push himself, doesn't want to make a mistake and put himself out. He doesn't want to hand that championship lead over to Hooding. Yes, Hooding may have the momentum going into the final race at Suzuka as he gets a little bit out of step there in the final corner. But you know, with the championship lead, it's his to lose going into the final race. He does not want Ruben van der Hooding going into the final race, not only with the momentum behind him of a win, but with the knowledge that he is the championship leader. Again, we'll watch him into the tech chicane. A bit of a wobble on the entry, and a Canadian flag shouting very proudly on the shark fin of the F3 car. Obviously, Peltmans hailing from the land of the weird chips with cheese and gravy, which I must say is actually really nice. And ice hockey as well, they do that. Heading down again under the banking, it's a spectacular piece of architecture. That it is really a shame that it's kind of been laid to waste, to be honest. But you know, the safety standards, what they are today, with the speeds they are reaching today, it's just not safe enough. You know, the banking is too steep, and the cars are just not designed for that kind of corner, and it is a shame. And the banking, it's kind of anyone who's played any kind of Forza game or Project Cars or even Assetto Corsa, where games where the banking is on it, you drive it, and it is a blast to drive in modern machinery. It's so fun to just whip round onto the back stretch, 220, 230 miles an hour. It's such good fun, but unfortunately, there's a line between fun and safety in the real world. We are lucky in sim racing in that we don't have to worry about safety because, well, you can't get killed virtually, but in real life you can get killed, which is, it's not really what anyone wants to see anyone getting seriously hurt. As we now go back to Van der Hooding. So, the banking remains closed to fall into disrepair, and it remains there just over the backstretch as a reminder of what once was and how far motorsport has come. As Van der Hooding heads into the first Lesmo, really good line. His car has been absolutely planted today. It really has had the race pace over Pelkman's. Pelkman's was rapid in qualifying. I'm not sure if he just had a slipstream on his lap or anything like that, but Van der Hooding, his car in the race has been absolutely spectacular. And bar the incident with Pelkman's, he raced really hard. But he's been very fair as well. That early on battle between Ruben and Connor was it was good fun to watch. As he goes into the backstretch now, I believe that's Imran Sheikh ahead of him, who will be lapped for a third time as they go through. So as it stands, with about 5 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, Ruben van der Hooding heading up the field about 12 seconds ahead of Connor Pelkman in second. Luca Mangini, a very quiet race in third, and it is Luca Mangini ahead of Van der Hooding there. Sorry, but he's driven a very quiet race in third. Imran Sheikh rounding off the current runners in fourth, and then Klein, Nagelrohr, and Tamer both out, and both were running for about third place early on in the race. Wayne Tamer, both having scarily similar incidents actually as well, both running off of the second Lesmo, just getting on the grass on the outskirts of the first Lesmo, coming into the second corner and just going straight on. I'm not sure if it was technical issues or just braking on the grass or dirty tyres or a lockup or what, but unfortunately they're both out of this race. But that's how motorsport and sim racing is. It's a very unforgiving, very cruel sport. It can bring you joy that is unrivaled to anything, but it can also break your heart. Think back to Mika Hakkinen at Monza in I believe it was 2000 or 1999 when he accidentally, obviously it was accidentally, he made a mistake, just a tiny little mistake that put him out of the race, and he went and cried. That is how much this sport means to people, especially when you're fighting for championships. Mangini locks up there, going straight on. That could have been a bit interesting for Van der Hooding, but he laps him safely as he heads onto the back straight now. He's still 12 seconds ahead of Connor Pelkman's. I think it's very safe to say that this race is well done and dusted, as we had some good battles early on at least. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. It's been entertaining. And is that Luca Mangini coming to the pits? I believe it is, yes. It is coming to the pits. I'm not sure if he has damage or if he maybe just wants to put another set of tyres on, trying to whack a personal best lap in at the end. We'll have to see, but he's definitely coming into the pits, so we can see their car going up on the virtual jacks. And out he goes again. Very quick pit stop there from the, I would say virtual team, but there was no team. We're heading out of the pits now. 3 minutes to go on the clock. He's got a very clear track ahead of him. It's just hopefully a last dash to the end now for Luca Mangini. He's got time for 2 more laps. So it seems like he is trying to go for a fastest lap here for himself. If not overall, I doubt, judging his pace over the weekend, that he will be able to extract that fastest lap from Connor Pelkman's of 1 minute 46.5, which is a fantastic lap, I must say so. And that's Imran Sheikh running quite wide there, out of Ascari. Not meaning to sound pessimistic, but I think he may have given up a bit. he's 2 laps down, 2 minutes from the end, just abusing the track limits where he can, as you see there. Then I was interested. Southampton have just gone 1-0 up against Burnley. See, as I said, I do a report on other races, or football even, as I just did there. And that is Luca Mancini coming down the back stretch under the banking, or the second back stretch into Ascari. I do apologise for just stopping and starting a bit. I've got just a bit of a lingering cold, and I do stress it is a cold. It's not COVID-19. I've got a bit of a dry throat. That's I had to just stop halfway through my dinner. I kind of forgot to drink any drink. So it's getting to me a bit, but there's only 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock, so I'm sure it won't affect me that much. Excuse me. And Mangini coming into the pits again. That's bizarre. Here is Conor Peltman's 12 seconds back on Ruben van der Hudding. Early on they were neck and neck, and Peltmans did have the 1 lap pace in qualifying. I'm not sure if he just got a really good slipstream, or Van der Hudding just didn't quite get a lap together. But in the race, they've been neck and neck until that contact, and then Van der Hudding has just been in a class of his own. Peltmans just cannot get any closer to him, which is a shame, because they were racing very fairly, very tough. Early on it was real exciting battles to watch as they, back and forth. Van der Hudding would poke a nose in front through the slipstream, and then Peltmans would just shut the door into the chicanes until he made that mistake, running too deep into the first chicane over the bumps, and then we all know what happens in the Variante della Regia, the contact sending Peltmans into the wall and essentially neutralizing his race. We will have to see what happens in the aftermath of this race. I believe Van der Hudding's going to get 1 more lap in. Yes, he is. He's got 1 more lap to do the job. So this will be the final lap of the race. What are we following round for it? Coming into the Rettifilio chicane, off the curbs. I must say, Van der Hudding, he's been a very defined race from you. He's been very clear. He's been very aggressive, and it's paid off for him. Yes, that incident with Peltmans, it's up to subject to debate. I must say, it could be taken that he had nowhere to go. It could have been taken that he could have backed off. But what matters now is it's the final lap into the Variante della Regia, and he is on his way up to the Lesmos for the last time through the first one. Very good line, keeping it nice and tidy on the exit, kicking up a little bit of gravel dust. It's the second one. Oh, he's running an extremely aggressive line there for the last lap. I'd thought he would have running very central there, but no, right on the white line. That really shows what a racer Ruben van der Hudding is. Even on the final lap, he is pushing all the way, coming down into the Variante Ascari, clipping the inside curves the last time through this left, right, left infamous flick onto the back stretch and on the run down to the Parabolica. It's been a really good race from Ruben van der Hudding. He was not quite on the same pace as Peltmans in qualifying. He was still on the front row, and he still managed to provide that challenge in the race, and it's paid off for him. As we see him here coming through the final corner for the last time, Ruben van der Hudding wins the 3rd round of the ARL Formula 3 Summer Series. A great race by the Dutchman. And Conor Peltman's there, coming across second. I have a slight suspicion he will be disappointed with that. Still a little bit of a wiggle. And straight back into the pits for Peltmans. No donuts or anything, which is fair enough. But yeah, there may have been a little bit of a wiggle there, but I do have the slight suspicion that he would have been disappointed by that. But there we have the cars that actually crossed the line. Because the others who haven't crossed the line yet, we've got Ruben van der Hudding in first, Conor Peltmans in second, Luca Mangini rounding up the podium. I believe that will be his first podium of the series, and actually I'm inclined to say it may be his first podium full stop in Ace Racing League, so congratulations to him. Imran Sheikh coming home in 4th place, and then Nick Klein-Nagelvor and Wayne Tammer both not finishing the race. Massive disappointment for them in almost scarily similar incidents. But it shows, when you're pushing so hard, it can bite back at you. But that's the way that sim racing is, and that's the way it will be. And there goes Luca Mancini crossing the line, a lap down, but still, finishing third. A great result for him. A podium place. And even though there is 4 drivers finishing, a podium is still a podium. It's still a virtual trophy. You've got to take it. I'm sure he'll be delighted with that, especially after a pretty poor qualifying session. Then, hopefully, Imran Sheikh will cross the line any moment now to conclude the race officially. And he does. Coming in also 3rd place, apparently. I think that's a bit of a lie. So actually 4th place. The timing screen lying to us a little bit there. But thank you for tuning in to the 3rd round of the Ace Racing League Summer Series at F3 at Monza. We've had a good race today. Lots of action. A couple crashes here and there, and we've just seen a good result for everyone today. You could join us next time at Suzuka for the series finale, where it could be very much a title decider. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.